Hello, my friends, and welcome to another one of Miss Claire's instructional videos. Today we're going to be talking about translating expressions from numeric expressions or algebraic expressions to written expressions and vice versa. So let's start off with talking about the different types of expressions. We talked a little bit about numeric expressions at the beginning of last unit with order of operations because we were simplifying numeric expressions for that whole dang unit. So numeric expressions are just when we have numbers and operators between them. So our numbers here are 6 and 7, and our operator is addition. Here's another example. My numbers here are 24, 3, and 5, and my operators are multiplication. Remember, that's the invisible multiplication when I have a number, and then parentheses. In between that is invisible multiplication. And our second operator is subtraction. With algebraic expressions, we add in another piece. We have our numbers, we have our operators, we also have our variables. So our numbers here are 3 and 2. Our operators are multiplication, that invisible multiplication that we have, and addition. In this expression, it's all multiplication. It's 9 times r times n because they're all just smushed next to each other. And lastly, the new component is our variables. Here our variables are a and b. Here our variables are r and n. And our numbers are 9. So what is a variable exactly? Well, a variable is a placeholder for values that we don't know yet, but we're trying to figure out. So they're usually denoted by letters. We want to denote them by something short that's not a number because we don't know what the number is. We don't know what the value is. So they can be shown as lowercase letters, uppercase letters, or later in your schooling, when we get really fancy with it, we're going to use Greek letters. But for the right now, lowercase and uppercase letters will suffice. So let's walk through an example. If Anne has 2 marbles, together Anne and Marie have 7 marbles. How many marbles does Marie have? So here we're trying to find out how many marbles Marie has, and we already know how many Anne has. So what variable are we going to use? Well, we want to find out the marbles Marie. Both of those start with the letter M, very conveniently. Let's just use the letter M to denote the amount of marbles Marie has. When we want to write this as an expression, we're not necessarily looking to solve this expression or this equation. This is going to end up being an equation. We're not looking to solve it, but we want to write it out so that we know how to solve it, or we have something to solve in the future. You could probably look at this and see how to solve it, but we want to write it as an equation. Anne has 2 marbles. That's something we know. We do not know how many marbles Marie has, but we know that when we add them together, they have 7. So that's how we write that expression. Next problem, you're going to do this on your own. The formative is going to stop right about here. If you come and show myself or Mr. Myers the variable, you'll get a sticker. If you come show us the equation that you wrote out, then you'll get a special treat. So we're going to pause right here, and we're going to come back in 1 second. And we're back. I hope you got your sticker and your treat. So now we're going to be talking about written expressions, and I'm going to be saying the keynote stuff. So make sure you read that. It's there if you need definitions or anything. But I'm going to be talking about it, and we're going to be translating written expressions into algebraic expressions. So if I have the written expression f divided by 2, I could write that just in that order, f divided by 2. That's how we say this algebraic expression. We could also write it, since fractions are division, we could also write it as f over 2. That means f divided by 2. This next one, these are going to start requiring some careful reading. So this is saying 8 less than b. What we want to do here is we want to take 8 away from b, right? So we start with our b, and we want 8 less than that, so we would subtract 8. In this instance, we don't follow the order that the written expression says. We don't start with the 8. But when we say 8 less than b, or 8 subtracted from b, we need to swap those. And that's where our reading comprehension is going to come in handy. For this next one, if I have 3n, that either means 3 times n, 3 multiplied by n. It could also be the product of, I want to type this one out. So this is a longer phrase. The product of 3, and n. That's another way that we can say that. That's a fancier way of saying that. I'll erase that just a line that I drew there. Our next ones, if we're going to be adding in more pieces, we're going to be making our expressions longer. If I have 4 times the sum of b and c, I have 4 times, but when I see the sum of or the quotient of, anything with of after it, that's going to mean I'm looking for parentheses. So we want to start with the parentheses, just like when we're writing our order of operations, we start with parentheses. Sum of b and c, so sum means addition, so we add our b and our c together. And now we can say 4 times that. So we have a 4 in front, that invisible multiplication, so 4 times b and c. 4 times the sum of b and c. For our last one, this one's really complicated. 2 less than the quotient of w and 6. So again, the quotient of, I want to start there because something of means parentheses. The quantity of, right? I was being really careful to say a lot of the quantity of in the last unit. So the quotient of w and 6, quotient means division. So w divided by 6. And again, careful reading with this less than. If I have 2 less than all of that, that means I want to take my w and 6 and make it less by a value of 2. So I'm subtracting 2 from it. So now that we're all finished with that, don't forget to go over your examples for the vocab words. This was a vocab heavy lesson, and there will be more to come. So this is going to be really important. And with that, I will see you in the next instructional video. Thanks for watching.